Welcome to Happy Homes and Gardens. I'm your host. My name is Daphne Royse. I am a real estate broker, architecture, and interior designer. Our hair is affected by wind, speed, humidity, UV index, and water hardness. And no one knows how much about tangles as Janice Williams Oliver, the founder and CEO of MisTee PRO. Let's welcome Janice and let her share her experiences with us. Welcome, Janice.
Hi, Daphne. Thank you very much for this opportunity. I appreciate it.
Thank you for being here. And please tell us who you are and what MisTee PRO does.
Well, MisTee Wants to Know Incorporated is a Procter & Gamble Beauty WWD Media winner. And we are, I should say, the MisTee PRO is the Dyson for curly, coily hair, addressing the needs of over 65% of the world. So my company is called MisTee Wants to Know Incorporated, and I am the founder and CEO. And how I got on this journey is I found out that hair relaxers can cause cancer. And in trying to figure out how to take care of my hair now that it was curly and coily, because if I didn't detangle my hair every single day, it would dreadlock, I learned that a lot of the creams and lotions that I could use to detangle my hair contained harmful ingredients like formaldehyde, which is why I decided to launch the MisTee PRO handheld steaming tool with its oil-filled pods, which releases an oily steam to detangle hair fast. It's all natural and it's healthy for the hair, scalp, and body. And I should mention that it was created by a former L'Oreal chemist as well.
And tell us about you, why you want to do this.
Well, you know, I'm very passionate about hair. And I've been passionate about hair, quite frankly, since I was 6 or 7 years old, when I had asked one of my friends, Synovia Norris, why her hair looked so great. And her hair looked great because her mom was putting mayonnaise in her hair as a conditioner. I'm just very passionate about hair. And I also have seen and realized that a lot of people who have curly hair are not taking care of it. And as a result, there's a high incidence of hair loss and alopecia. So I am doing this, and I should say our primary focus is to help people more easily maintain their hair so that it stays healthy.
What do people normally do? Like you mentioned, your friend was using mayonnaise besides over-the-counter products.
Well, my friend, we were 6 or 7 years old. So mayonnaise has protein in it. So that's a type of conditioner. Okay. But what people normally do when they have hair like mine, to address tangles, for example, is they use creams and lotions. And it's usually a number of items in addition to the creams and lotions to detangle or maintain hair. So it can be a spray bottle, for example. It can be one of those flexible detangling brushes. And then you also have the creams and the lotions. And so, as I mentioned, the creams and the lotions, in many cases, some of them have harmful ingredients in it. And I should also mention that this is supported by Harvard research, which has found that over 50% of the hair care products that are targeted to African American people have harmful ingredients in it. So yes, these creams and lotions are used to help us detangle our hair. And one of the reasons why I'm launching the MisTee PRO tool, providing the MisTee PRO tool with its 2 pods, one being distilled water and the other being the proprietary formulation, is so that we are making it easier where you don't have to go through all those steps. Have the spray bottle, for example, and have the creams and the lotions. You don't need all of that in order to maintain or detangle your hair on a daily basis.
How long it normally takes you to detangle then without your current MisTee tool?
Well, I've spoken to hairstylists. I'd love to sort of talk about hairstylists because that is our primary target audience. Yes, individuals will be using the tool as well too, but let's just take a hairstylist. Let's take two types of hairstylists. One that is maybe dealing with a customer that has a weave in their hair. And a weave is basically hair that's not yours, that's installed in your hair. And the person or the client is coming in and they're taking the weave out, or the weave has already been taken out and they want to get their hair done. The hair, in many cases, is very tangled and knotty. In some cases, the person has not done anything to that new growth since they put the weave in, which could have been like 4 or 5 weeks ago. And so it can take at least an hour, just to detangle that hair, which has to be done before you go into the wash bowl. Because if you go into the wash bowl with tangled, knotty hair, it'll get even more tangled and knotty once you are shampooing the hair. And in some cases, which is really sad, is that the hair is so tangled and knotty, they can't even detangle it properly. And so they cut the hair, which is like super sad. So that's just one instance. And then you have hairstylists that have kids as their clients. And in some cases, you have parents who really don't know how to take care of their kids' curly, coily hair. So the child comes to the hair salon with this really tangled, knotty hair. And the hairstylist has got to, in some way, detangle this hair because you don't want to cut the hair, because particularly if it's a little girl, for example, that's a self-esteem issue. So that can take up to an hour, if not more, depending on the length of the hair, to detangle it to the point where it's detangled enough so that you can wash it.
Can you explain the type of hair that will benefit with your tool?
Well, so when I started the journey, I definitely started the journey for people like me who have type 3, type 4 hair, which is curly and coily. And type 4 has an even tighter curl. And so this tool makes sense because you need to, on a daily basis, detangle the hair and just maintain it so that it doesn't dreadlock. But what's really interesting is that as I kind of continue this journey, I've learned that, like I mentioned earlier, that over 65% of the world does not have straight hair. And so there are a lot of people that I'd never even considered that would really benefit from the tool and both of the pods. And so, yeah, it's our low-hanging fruit, or our primary target audience, are hairstylists and people with hair like mine. But we've also learned that if you have a wave in your hair, for example, and maybe you're living in a climate that's very dry, the formulation, the proprietary formulation, which discharges the oily steam, can be really helpful as well too, because of the way the formulation has been structured or created, it goes into the hair shaft as opposed to laying on top of the hair shaft. So you're getting that moisturizing, but if you touch the hair, you don't get that oily feel.
Can straight hair also use your tool just to maintain healthy hair?
Well, if you're living like here in the Bay Area, for example, in a very dry climate, and this is something I've noticed because I'm from the East Coast, so there's a lot of humidity on the East Coast. So, yes, you're always trying to get your hair as dry as possible because you don't want it if it's not, your hair looks very flat and oily. But that dynamic is so different here in California. So I notice people with straight hair and it looks frizzy. And it looks that way because they're applying the same process that they're doing on the East Coast where there's a lot of humidity, but that's not working here. So you need to be moisturizing your hair in some way out here because the air is so dry. So yes, my tool would be I wouldn't say that's my primary target audience, but I can definitely see how the MisTee PRO tool would be beneficial to somebody with straight hair as well, too, because they need some type of moisturizing in this type of very dry climate.
There are hundreds of hair products out there. Are they really good with hair?
Well, like I said, a Harvard study has found that over 50% of the hair care products that are targeted to women like myself have harmful ingredients in it, like formaldehyde. And so, no, and then relaxers, can cause cancer. So, and these are findings that have just only occurred, in the last 10 years or so. So no, not everything is healthy or good for your body or for your hair.
For example, they add protein in the shampoo, maybe amino acids for something else. Overall, are they good with the hair or they actually just advertisement?
Oh, okay. Well, first of all, everybody's hair is different. And so I would suggest two things. One, have a conversation with your hairstylist because protein, for example, is good, but it's not something that you should be doing on your hair all the time. And so that's the reason why it's really important to have a conversation with your hairstylist because there are different types of shampoos, there are different types of conditioners. And a clarifying shampoo, for example, may make sense, but they may not make sense all the time. A moisturizing shampoo may make sense, but you may need to also do some other things as well, too, in addition to that moisturizing shampoo. So it's very, very important, I think, to have that conversation with your hairstylist. I would also recommend that you do a hair analysis. And again, remember, your hair is not the same, probably not the same in January as it will be in June because of maybe weather conditions, or your hair is not going to be the same if you're 30 versus if you're 50. And your hair is not going to be the same if you're taking certain pharmaceutical products as well. So it's very, very important to continue to have those conversations as opposed to just have it once. And having that conversation with a skilled hairstylist is very, very important because what happens is that you have like, and I've, been in conversations with TRI Princeton, for example. They will do that research, okay? But you need to combine the science with the real life too. And so that's what hairstylists come to the table with, at least the ones at My Ivana do. So particularly if you're starting to go to a hairstylist for the first time, the very first thing they should be doing is sitting down with you and having a conversation with you about your hair, about your lifestyle, what types of pharmaceutical products are you on, how do you normally take care of your hair? They're feeling your hair. They should be doing some kind of interview with you before they even start the process of taking care of your hair. And if that's not taking place, then that is an indication that their hairstylist is probably more entry level as opposed to being in the business for a number of years. First of all hairdressers have to go to cosmetology school. And, and that's months of training. But a really skilled hairdresser does not stop learning after they finish cosmetology school and they get their license. They are continually getting educated on products. If they intend to be a colorist, for example, they are constantly taking classes on color and how to mix color and how to get the right kinds of shades, how to get, the certain color results, how to color on different types of hair. I mean, that's an ongoing training that hairstylists get. And I should also mention that in a variety of states, not in all states now, but in a variety of states, it is becoming mandatory that schools include how to take care of curly, coily hair in their programs as well, too, because that information is going to show up in their licensing exams. So, yeah, these are just some of the ways, or some of the ways in which somebody can evaluate whether a hairstylist is skilled. What's really key here is that they are still getting training. Even if they've been doing hair for 10 or 15 years, they are still constantly trying to get trained and gain knowledge on different types of hair and different types of products.
And what is the best practice to have a healthy hair?
Well, okay. So number one, I'd like you to buy the tool. I want to emphasize the two pods. The one, of course, includes the proprietary formulation, which was made by a former L'Oreal chemist, which is all natural and healthy for the hair, scalp, and body. But the other pod includes distilled water. And I want to talk a little bit about that. There's a reason for that. Water is not the same throughout the country, if not throughout the world. And some of the additives that are put in water, tap water, for example, are not healthy for the hair. It can dry your hair out. And so we are offering the distilled water pod to make it easy for you to use distilled water on your steaming process. And so that's the first thing. We want you to buy the tool. But the second thing is, in order to have healthy hair, you should be drinking a lot of water. You should be mindful about the foods that you're putting in your body. Eating it close to the vine is what I would strongly recommend. And again, have that conversation with your skilled hairstylist, because all shampoos and all conditioners are not created equal. And so you want to make sure that you are using the kinds of shampoos and conditioners that are going to make sense for your hair, but also takes into consideration how your hair is changing throughout the year, as opposed to throughout your life, as opposed to where you're living. These kinds of factors should be taken into consideration when you're considering the types of shampoos and conditioners you're using on your hair. And then lastly, I would suggest you get a hair analysis. And you can get that by going to the myavana.com website, myavana.com website, and send them a sample of your hair, and they will analyze your hair and tell you what your hair has and what is needed. And the hairstylists that they have on staff are incredibly skilled. They understand chemistry, for example, and they'll be able to recommend to you the types of products, whether it's shampoo, conditioners, or creams or lotions, the types of products that would really make sense so that you can keep your hair healthy.
Do you know those products are seasonal? For example, you need to use a certain product in the summertime and others in the winter.
Definitely. Because all these factors affect your hair. So if you're in the summertime, you're exposed to more humidity, for example. So there's certain ingredients, okay, that are going to make your hair look frizzy in the summertime because of the humidity, but may not make your hair look frizzy in the wintertime. So yes, the temperature, the humidity levels, all of these things really do affect or should influence the types of products that you're using throughout the year.
And please tell us how MisTee Pro is different than other products, and do you consider sustainability in mind?
Yes. Oh gosh. So we conducted a prior art search, I should say a third-party multi-innovation group, which has been working with us on our IP strategy. They conducted a prior art search before we filed our first patent. And we learned that there is no tool out there that is professional grade and discharges an oily steam. As we have continued down this product development road, we also are very, very different. Our internal architecture is very, very different than other tools, steaming tools, very different. And so that's another way in which we're different than other steaming tools that are out there. Again, we're professional grade. We are the MisTee Pro tool is being made for and by hairstylists. So they are a part of our product development process throughout. We're constantly getting input. We're constantly getting advice on what's needed, what makes sense for them, what makes sense for them in terms of the space that they're in, for example. So those are just some of the ways in which we're different. But sustainability is a huge, huge focus for us. At the end of the day, we really do not want this to end up in a landfill. That's like our goal. So we are building this for longevity and durability. Our pods will be recyclable. We are also very concerned about forever chemicals. And we want to make sure that we are working with distributors and manufacturing facilities that are not using forever chemicals. We are also want to make sure that any manufacturing facility or any distributor that we're working with is engaging in sustainable processes. And just recently, and understand sustainability is just a part of our conversation with our engineering team anyway. Carol Law is our engineering team. And they recently attended a trade show in Minnesota where they came back with this plastic that is recyclable from the plastics in the ocean. So we're going to be having a conversation with those vendors soon to sort of get more information about that. So let me again emphasize the fact that sustainability is a huge, huge priority with us.
Okay. I do have a question about the oil you're putting in your tool. Are they plant-based? How many different kind of oils out there?
So I should say to you that that's proprietary. So I cannot discuss the formulation.
Okay.
But what I can tell you is that it is our goal to come out with more formulations in addition to the proprietary formulation that was created by our former L'Oreal chemist. And we want to, because there's a lot of innovation that's taking place in skincare, and we want to sort of leverage some of that and use it in hair care as well, too. There is something called the skinification of hair. And so we are pursuing conversations with some very strong chemistry departments. Berkeley, for example, has an incredibly strong chemistry department, and I'm a Kellogg MBA. So I'm also pursuing conversations with the chemistry department at Northwestern University. And I should mention Northwestern University has a program that focuses on ethnic hair and skin. So a collaboration with them would be phenomenal.
Do you know if your tool can be used on animals?
That's another very interesting question, because when we kind of consider what is in the future, because of the approach we've definitely have learned that horses, for example, and dogs could really benefit. So it would not be under the MisTee PRO or the brand name, okay, that we're currently using, but we definitely see opportunities maybe for partnering with an entity that understands and has access to the target market that has pets or has horses. And I should also mention, we know too that beards is another way in which our tool could be very beneficial. Men take care of their beards in very similar ways that we take care of the hair on our head. And again, would not be under the MisTee PRO branded name, but we definitely see beards as another target audience that can benefit from our tool and formulations as well.
How big is your MisTee PRO? Can it be easy for people to carry it in their purses or travel?
So that's also a really good question, because the stylists of 10 years ago are not really the stylists of today. Many stylists are not working in traditional salons. They're renting chairs and they're traveling throughout the United States in order to provide their services. And then also stylists are in salon suites as opposed to salons. And salon suites are basically, think of a closet almost, where she is or he is providing their services. So all of these things are really taken into consideration as we have developed the MisTee PRO tool. Ergonomics, incredibly important. How it's being held, how it's affecting the wrist. The fact that it's very lightweight is incredibly important to us. The lightweight, it being lightweight is also addressing sustainability as well too, because we want to make sure that we're making it with as few components as possible. So yes, portability is extremely important, because we want to make sure that that hairstylist that's flying around the country, can easily transport the tool to, or that hairstylist that's going from salon and she's got to carry her equipment with her. We don't want it to add more weight to what she's already currently providing. So think of it as a tool that's handheld. Think of a handheld hair dryer, for example, but it's much lighter than a handheld hair dryer.
Do you need to plug in your tool to the outlet, or you can pre-charge?
That is another really good question, because the initial launch is going to be a tool that you have to plug in. And we are taking into consideration that plug or that extension has to be really long for a hairstylist. But down the road, we are exploring a tool that will be battery operated as well too, so that it can be just rechargeable. So yes.
Will you have other new hair tools in the future?
I would say that is being explored as well too. So there's the hardware piece, which I call the MisTee PRO 1.0. But we are in the process working with some Rochester Institute of Technology students in the software engineering school. They're seniors. We are working with them to create an app and a database. So we want to be able to collect data and provide data to hairstylists when they're using the tool. So I call that the MisTee PRO 2.0.
Okay. And where is your website and how can people contact you?
So my website is misteepro.com. It's misteepro.com. And on my website, I also have my email address, and I have our social media links as well too. So definitely, who's ever listening to this podcast, please feel free to reach out to me.
Sounds like a time saving and also efficient for what they need to do with their daily life.
Well, again, our whole focus is healthy hair and making it easy for you to maintain and have healthy hair. That at the end of the day, that is what we're trying to help you achieve.
Thank you so much, Janice, for your time and this informative interview.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity. This has been a tremendous amount of fun.
Thank you.